How do, cockle? Chris Mystery cleaning with the Foul Coast. Oh, once again. So I am in the sun a little bit, so don't worry, I'm not being slapped around and interrogated, it's just the sun. So yeah, so I've had quite a lot of quotes, etc. to run today. I've had full day's worth of window cleaning, etc. Sent the boys out doing window cleaning on the residential side, and yeah, it's starting to, it's been a funny one this year, because obviously we've had all the ice and the snow and all that gubbins, and even last night it was like minus 3 at about 4 o'clock in the morning. So a lot of the kit that we woke up to this morning was frozen over, and the jet washer, brand new, shiny. Well, it's not really brand new, but it's new to us. There's a 2p piece hole in the reel, just because of the frost has just burst the pipe, what have you. So it is one of those, you're not going to get around it, to be honest with you. So anyway, we've been out doing I've been out doing quotes today for jet washing and stuff like that. And it's funny because now that the sun's out, I mean, look at the state of this now. I mean, this is Fleetwood. The sun never shines in Fleetwood. You know what I mean? So sun's shining, etc. And people now are starting to think a bit more about sort of presentation of the property, etc. So jet washing is going to be a big thing for us this year. We did take delivery of the vehicle just before Christmas, but I've been toying around with the settings and just doing little bits like taking it out to my mum's house, having a bit of a play with it, etc. And getting to basically learn what it's all about. It's a big step going to one of those jet washers than it is to sort of what I've used in the past, to be honest with you. So yeah, wanted to also just I've got a question from Fruit Bat. Was asking about employees. How is it that you manage your staff, etc. when it comes to having other vehicles out? It's not as hard as what people, I mean, it's a challenge like anything else, but it's not as heartbreakingly hard as what people think. And I'm very fortunate. I've got 3 reliable lads that we work with, and it's just a case of ensuring that all the boxes are ticked, etc. So in a nutshell, one of my employee, I've got a full-time employee, and he, in real terms, I say he's a full-time employee, but he does about, if he does more than 30 hours a week, I will plat sawdust. He usually averages somewhere between 24 and 28 hours a week, and his salary is $1,600 a month. There is obviously bonuses and stuff like that, so obviously if he gets me a particularly juicy job, etc., and obviously we charge double on the first clean. And what I tend to do now, or what I've started to do, is to give whoever's doing that first clean the other half of the doubled fee. You know what I mean? As a bit of a Brucey bonus, because sometimes it does take a bit of extra time and stuff like that. So rather than pay them overtime or pay people by the hour, there's still a set daily rate and they still get a bonus and stuff like that. So if you end up doing sort of, let's say for argument's sake, 3, well, say you do 3 deep cleans on a given day, that's an extra £36 in your pocket, in your pay packet sort of thing. So they're quite happy with that. So we go from there. My accountant deals with the PAYE side of life. Again, I'm not intelligent enough to be, or patient enough to be managing that. So David and Simon at Turner and Brown accountants, they do all that for me. Sharon does the payroll. So basically, they work out your how many sort of how much to pay, deductions, etc. So then all you have to do is, let's say for argument's sake, at the end of this month, the employee will get paid, and then what will happen is that I will have until the 22nd of the following month to pay the deductions, the national insurance contributions, the pension, and the income tax that the lads PAYE, and it's just a simple case of bank transferring a fee to HMRC, and it's all dealt with by the accountant. The accountant will give a pay slip to me, which I will pay out to the penny how much that's owed out, and then I will just pay whoever needs paying, etc. So that's relatively straightforward. In terms of worksheets, we use Squeegee. We've always used Squeegee from relatively early on, to be honest with you. There were bugs starting out, and it was a bit of a trial, to be fair. But they seem to have smashed all the problems and all that sort of good stuff. And the good thing about Squeegee is, if there's ever a drama, you can ring them direct, etc. They're a UK-based company, and the problem usually gets dealt with pretty quick when it comes to the system being down, etc. So I have a profile set up for myself, and then I have 2 other profiles set up for the lads so that they can use their email address to log in. And it's very much a case of I can limit what they see. So for argument's sake, we've got this thing called GDPR, which is data protection. So obviously we have to protect and safeguard people's information. So there's a setting on there that allows me to show the lads the addresses, but hide things like the name and the phone numbers, etc., from the worker. And it's good, I suppose, because it protects. It gives you a warm fuzzy feeling that, as your guys are they're acting within the GDPR guidelines, so no one's gonna give you a bit of a tap on the shoulder, etc. But it's also good as well for a number of people I've spoken to seem to be really, really worried about workers running off with the customers and stuff like that. I don't think that's I mean, I'm sure that has happened in the past with other people, and I'm sure it goes on, what have you. But the thing is, you have to trust people that work with you. There has to be a level of trust, and I think if you can filter out people that you don't trust, you should be onto a winner. And a good thing about it is as well, I had a chat with a lad called Michael recently. He's going through this process at the minute. He's looking at taking on a guy, and he's worried that the lad might run off with his work. But then when you sort of sit down and think about it, it's very much a case of, if you own the van and you own the equipment, and let's say for argument's sake someone was an utter scumbag and did want to take all your customers off you, then what would happen is that he would still have to go out and get the kit. He'd still have to go out and get a vehicle. He would still go and have to do all the things that you've done to set a business up. And then you're assuming that the customer is willing to sort of throw you under the bus. There's a lot of moving parts basically for that kind of thing to come off, and I'll be honest with you, a lot of people are just thinking to themselves, it's not going to work. So I think that a lot of that is a paranoia thing, and I worried about it, to be honest with you. But the more and more I look at it, the more and more it seems that it's less likely to happen. I actually even had at one point a customer who I had a customer in Martin, and it's not the most it's not the richest of areas, is Marton. You know what I mean? There's a lot of poverty down there, etc. And the customer even sort of rang me and said, "Oh, Chris, just to let you know, there's someone who's putting leaflets out for window cleaning on our street. And you don't have to worry, I'm not going with them," sort of thing. I just thought I'd let you know. And I was just, I think, oh bless, you know what I mean? It's like, you know what I mean? So the thing is that, you know, the customer still has to want to get rid of you for this other guy to take the work off you. So it's not going to work, is it really? So that's dealt with, etc. You know, the reality is there are very few people who have actually got the stones to start a business, to be honest with you. And, you know, a lot of people are just grateful to have the work. And if you treat people with respect and you treat them nicely, then you've not really got anything to worry about, have you? So from an insurance perspective, it's not really any different than insuring a member of your family on a car. So obviously you just tell the insurer the name of the person driving the vehicle, their date of birth, give them their driver's license number, etc. Are there any claims made on their insurance? No. Are there any sort of penalties that they carry over from? Are there any other penalties that they're carrying over, etc.? And just give them the details, and they will spit a figure out back at you, and you'll say, "Yeah, I'll pay it." No, I won't. The alternative thing to do, which is what I do, is I use a broker, and they do all the donkey work. They go out and find insurers. I give them all the details and all the details of my guys, and then, you know, they just get insured on the vehicle, etc. And all is well with the world. It's also good to use a broker to go and get the insurance for employer's liability insurance. So you have to have employer's liability insurance, because if your guy on the ground or girl on the ground hurts someone, causes damage to property, etc., you're going to get sued, or you run the risk of getting sued. And if, you know, my cover, for argument's sake, my policy on my employer's liability covers me up to, I think it's 5 million. There's not a lot of things you're going to cause £5 million worth of damage with a water-fed pole. You know, unless I suppose you could convert it to a flamethrower or something, I don't know, but but yeah, so joking aside, there's that. So employer's liability, public liability, so that's if you or any of your others, any of your workers hurt people. Your employer's liability is if they have an accident and hurt themselves. And what I would say is that any of you guys that are using contractors, it's always a good idea, not absolutely essential, but it's always a good idea for any contractors that are self-employed to have their own insurance. That just covers your back. And, you know, so yeah, it's not, like I say, I met a gentleman, I think his name was Wayne, at the Cleaning Expo last year. He was an ex-Royal Marine. If you do watch the channel still, mate, just say hello. But this guy was an ex-Sergeant Major in the Royal Marines, and he was almost umming and ahhing about taking people on. He was a bit worried, and I was just thinking to myself, Jesus Christ, you know, and you've been through what you've been through, and you're worried about taking on an employee, etc. It was a strange one for me, but I think he was probably worried about having responsibility for someone, and it falling purely on them. But yeah, I think all you've really got to do is treat people well, treat people with respect. You know, basically don't be the douchebag that they've worked for in the past. We've all done it. There's many a person I've worked for when I just think to myself, I am far more capable than you, and they're just utterly useless, but they're just stealing a living. But there's also people there that will, because they have authority, if you like, over you, they leverage that against you. And I think sometimes you can upset people by sort of giving it the big I am. So long as you don't do that, I don't see it as being a major obstacle. So yeah, that's pretty much it, to be honest with you. So I'm going to call the video here. I'm running late as per usual. I've got another quote to run, and then I'm going to go watch my daughter's. My youngest daughter is doing. I think she's in. There's a choir performance that she's in tonight, so I'll be watching that. So never ends, never stops. Keep on rolling, keep on keeping on. I'll see you all in the next video. Take care.